Archangel Michael reveals the truth about your childhood and why you keep attracting the wrong people. Tonight, heaven opens your childhood memories like a sacred book, not with judgment, but with revelation. This moment is not random, it is a divine appointment. The atmosphere is shifting, and those who are marked will hear it. The voice of Archangel Michael pierces through the ordinary and enters this very moment not as a whisper, but as a command. This is not a message for the curious. It is for the called, the chosen, the ones heaven had been watching since their first cry pierced the veil of birth. There is a divine interruption now happening in your spirit, a holy disruption, a sudden stillness meant to pause your wandering thoughts and bring focus back to the root, your beginning. Not the version of childhood you show in photographs, but the deeper, buried layers, the hidden wounds, the forgotten names, the moments you never gave language to because you were too young to speak them. Those moments matter now. Heaven is highlighting them. Heaven is drawing a circle around them. You are being summoned, not to fear, but to observe. The misalignments in your relationships, the patterns that keep repeating, the betrayals you could not predict. These are not mysteries. They are spiritual echoes of what was planted in your early days. And tonight, Michael says, let truth unravel gently. For truth, when revealed too quickly, can shatter. But when given by the Spirit, it heals as it exposes. This message comes wrapped in light. Not every ear will hear. Not every heart will understand. But you are marked for this. You are ready. Heaven has waited for this hour to touch that inner chamber, the place where the wrong people first entered, the place where the enemy whispered his first lie to you. You have asked, why do I keep attracting betrayal? Why do I keep being misunderstood? Why does love feel like pain and safety feel foreign? The answer is not in the now, it is in the then. And Archangel Michael has come to guide you through it. You are not alone. You are not broken. You are not imagining it. The gates of memory are now being opened by divine hands. The ones who hurt you will no longer hold power over you. The story is being rewritten. The chains are being seen for what they are, spiritual sabotage. You are no longer blind. You are no longer bound. Tonight begins the journey of divine unraveling, sacred release, and spiritual rebirth. Type I am chosen in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 999 is now surrounding you. You felt it all your life, haven't you? That strange, invisible pressure. That haunting sense of being watched but never truly seen. Judged but never understood. Spoken about, but rarely spoken to in truth. You've walked with a mystery you could not name, a fog of emotional disruption that clouded even your brightest days. And now, Archangel Michael peels back the curtain and says, this was not your imagination. This was not you being sensitive. This was spiritual interference masked as family dynamic. Someone close to you held secrets. Someone who should have protected you chose instead to preserve appearances. And in doing so, they carved emotional gaps into your soul and labeled it normal upbringing. But heaven knows the difference. Heaven knows what was said in hushed tones, behind closed doors, in the corners of homes you tried to feel safe in. That silence, that absence of validation, that was not divine order. That was sabotage. Michael reveals that certain reputations were shaped early, yours included. Words were planted like seeds, and those seeds grew into perceptions others held against you, even when your heart was pure. You were painted with colors that didn't belong to you, labeled things you never chose. Perhaps the black sheep, A too emotional one. The one who always caused problems, when really, you were the one sensing problems that no one else would name. And in this spiritual disruption, your core identity was tampered with. You tried to shrink yourself. You tried to adapt. You tried to fit roles that were never yours. And you attracted the wrong people not because you were desperate, but because your blueprint was altered. Michael says clearly, this is not just emotional pain. This is prophetic betrayal. It was an assignment. You were not broken. You were betrayed. You were not lost. You were misled. The deep inner feeling that something was off. It was not paranoia. It was prophecy knocking on the door of your spirit. And now, it's no longer knocking. It's breaking the door down. Heaven is reclaiming what the enemy labeled. The lies spoken over you are now under divine correction. The false stories are being edited by angels. Yes, the disruption hurt. Yes, the betrayal broke something. But it also built discernment. It carved wells of wisdom into your spirit. And now you are rising, not as a victim, but as a vessel. No longer repeating the cycles. No longer entertaining false connections. The mystery is being solved, and in its place stands a new version of you, bold, clear, holy, and seen. If this message resonates with you and you feel moved to support, consider giving a super thanks with contributions of up to $20. Your kindness helps us bring more powerful content your way. Also, if you'd like to support what we do, you can make a difference by donating through the support here link in the description of this video. Every contribution helps us keep creating and sharing more with you. Type I am awakening in the comments if you feel this truth. Blessing code 1122 is now surrounding your timeline. Hear this now with sacred clarity. This is not just trauma you have carried. This is not merely the residue of a hard childhood or the result of unfortunate encounters. This was targeted spiritual warfare. Deliberate. Precise. Inward. From the moment you entered this world, the light within you was seen in the unseen realm. The enemy knew who you would become. The enemy sensed the legacy in your bloodline, the fire in your DNA, the call on your name. You didn't grow up in chaos by accident. Your peace was disrupted on purpose. Archangel Michael stands before you now to testify of this truth. Your calling was visible even from the cradle. The moment you took your first breath, the spirit world took notice. Heaven rejoiced, but hell reacted. You were not just born, you were sent. You came into this earth as a divine disruptor, a chain breaker, a voice destined to correct wrong alignments and expose false altars. But before you even knew your own name, darkness plotted to distort your reflection. And so, the battle began. The enemy did not wait for you to become strong. He struck when you were most vulnerable, through the systems meant to shape your identity. Family systems, cultural patterns, generational habits. What looked like dysfunction on the surface was a carefully cloaked operation to diminish your clarity. You were never just the sensitive one. You were the seer. You were never too emotional. You were the one heaven anointed to feel deeply and intercede mightily. And so, your sensitivity was mocked. Your spirit was misunderstood. Your purity was exploited. Michael reveals now that your trust, your open heart, became the very weapon used against you. Those you reached for in innocence were used as pawns in a dark strategy to fracture your trust and teach you to second-guess your inner knowing. The enemy used the voices of authority to confuse your own. He camouflaged control as care. He repackaged manipulation as tradition. And in that mix of emotional and spiritual chaos, the enemy hoped you would forget who you are. But you didn't forget. You survived. And survival became your signal. Your very endurance was a spiritual alarm to heaven that the war had not succeeded. Now the tide is turning. Archangel Michael declares, you were hidden in plain sight. Though overlooked by men, you were never unnoticed by God. Though dismissed by people, you were protected by angels. And now, the divine order that was interrupted is being reinstated. Understand this. What you face now, the patterns you still encounter, the relational misalignments that persist, these are not simply personality flaws or unlucky experiences. They are the echoes of that original spiritual assignment. They are the reverberations of early attacks still trying to delay your divine alignment. But no more. The light is shining on every shadow. The angels are reclaiming your emotional land. The places where your joy was stolen are being revisited by heaven's justice. This is not just healing. This is holy reclamation. Heaven is pulling you out of the fog. The enemy has been exposed. And once exposed, he cannot operate freely. You are not crazy. You are not cursed. You are chosen. And now that the truth has surfaced, you will never again unknow it. The battle was real. The trauma was deep. But the glory that is about to rest on your life will be undeniable. Type I am divinely protected in the comments if this is for you. Blessing code 3344 now shields your journey. You must hear this with precision and without fear. Someone in your present life mirrors the patterns of your past. Heaven is sounding an alarm through the voice of Archangel Michael. The same spirit that moved through betrayal in your early years now stands cloaked in familiarity before you again. This is not a coincidence. It is a cycle, a destiny, a final attempt to keep you from your next level. Within the next 72 hours, a spiritual confrontation will arise. You will know it not by its noise, but by the sting, familiar, subtle, deceptive. It will come in the form of rejection wrapped in kindness. It will come as offense masked in concern. It will arrive as a whisper of doubt from someone you thought was safe. But listen closely, not with your ears, but with your discernment. Heaven says, this is your marker. This is your cue to choose differently. The enemy is not creative. He is repetitive. He recycles faces with new names, hoping you'll fall into old traps. He brings similar energy through different vessels, aiming to manipulate your empathy, provoke your past, and reopen unhealed wounds. But Michael commands, be alert. Be still. Be discerning. Do not respond from the flesh. You not argue your worth. You not explain your growth. This moment is a divine test, not of who they are, but of who you've become. The enemy knows your triggers. He knows what silence from a loved one can do to your confidence. He knows how manipulation through kindness can make you question yourself. But Michael declares, if you react in fear, the trap will spring. Your power now is in restraint. Your weapon is awareness. This is not a moment to engage. It is a moment to rise. Rise above the bait. Rise beyond the emotional entanglement. Rise with wisdom. Understand this. Every confrontation has a spiritual root. You are not fighting a person. You are confronting a pattern. And this pattern must break, here and now. You are not obligated to defend yourself. You are not called to bleed for clarity. You only want an emotional explanation when your spirit knows the truth. Your assignment is not to fix others. It is to protect your alignment. In this hour, the wrong response could reopen doors you spent years closing. But the right restraint will unlock blessings you've been praying for in silence. This is a holy inflection point. Michael and the host of heaven are watching. Angels are stationed. The confrontation hath been permitted, not to harm you, but to elevate you. God allows battles not to test your pain tolerance, but to reveal your spiritual authority. Do not be afraid. The sting may come, but it will not wound. The words may be harsh, but they will not pierce. The spirit may feel familiar, but it has no power unless you surrender to it. This is your moment of victory, not by fighting, but by standing still. As it is written, "Be still and know that I am God." This is that moment. Be still. No. Win. Type "I choose wisdom" in the comments if you understand this warning. Blessing code 808 is now encircling your emotional field. Heaven is now issuing a command, not a suggestion. Withdraw. Not from your purpose, but from the distractions. Not from your destiny, but from the eyes that were never meant to witness your becoming. Archangel Michael steps into your atmosphere with divine precision and says clearly, "Become invisible to the wrong eyes." The same eyes that misunderstood your younger self. The same spirits that twisted your purity into weakness. Heaven is speaking now, with intensity, with clarity. Your silence is not surrender. It is strategy. There are moments in spiritual warfare when words are weapons, and there are moments when silence is the shield. This is the hour where the less you say, the more power you hold. Because what's happening in your life now is not for public observation. It's a sacred reconstruction, a divine relocation, a holy reset. And it cannot be explained to those who only speak the language of your old self. Michael is drawing a circle around your soul. Not to isolate, but to insulate. To protect what is being rebuilt. To shield what is being reborn. The fortress is invisible, but the protection is real. Heaven is moving you into the secret place. The sacred space where angels stand guard and no familiar spirit can spy. You've spoken too much to people who were never meant to carry your truth. You've given access to voices that only echoed your fears, never your faith. But no more. This is your holy hiding season. Withdraw from the noise, from the need to be understood, from the desire to explain why you're shifting, why you're quiet, why your energy no longer flows where it once did. Let them wonder. Let them assume. Heaven says, withdraw with dignity. You are not retreating. You are rising. And in this rising, you will not take contamination with you. Be still and know I am restoring what was stolen. These are not just words. They are an oath, an order, a promise made in the courts of heaven on your behalf. Restoration is in motion, but it requires your cooperation. You cannot keep praying for peace while staying connected to what steals it. You cannot ask for clarity while entertaining confusion. You must choose, not out of fear but out of faith. You must choose to step back so that heaven can step forward. And when you do, when you choose silence over self-defense, stillness over striving, prayer over panic, you activate angelic assistance. You send signals into the spirit realm that you trust God more than gossip. You trust destiny more than drama. You trust purpose more than popularity. And that trust becomes a weapon. That trust becomes your shelter. That trust becomes the reason heaven begins to fight battles behind your back that you didn't even know existed. Michael commands the angels now to surround your emotional gates. Your mind. Your heart. Your memories. Your spirit. Every entrance where pain once slipped through is now being fortified. Every open wound is being sealed with divine balm. The places where the wrong people had access are being shut by holy hands. And what once entered without resistance will now find no door, no crack, no key. You are guarded. You are wrapped in light. You are cloaked in heavenly intelligence. This is your sacred silent season. But grow. Fast from noise. Feast on presence. Let Spirit do the speaking. Let God fight while you rest. And when the time comes, when your silence has completed its assignment, when your healing is full and your light is recalibrated, heaven will lift the veil, and those who watched you fall will witness your divine rise. Type "I am hidden in glory" in the comments if this resonates. Blessing code 1717 is now active over your life. You are not broken. You are not ruined. You are not a discarded remnant of who you used to be. You are rebuilt, reborn, from divine fire, from the ashes of betrayal, from the rubble of mislabeling, from the dust of abandonment. You have emerged not fragile, but forged. You are the product of supernatural rebuilding. What the enemy meant to destroy, heaven has used to refine. Archangel Michael now stands before you and declares with fire in his voice, you are not the same. You are the healed disruptor of your bloodline. The child in you wept. The inner you screamed for understanding, for protection, for truth. But the adult in you is rising now, not with bitterness but with boldness. Not with pain, but with precision. What once paralyzed you now empowers you. The tears have watered your roots, and from those roots emerges a version of you that no longer seeks validation from the unhealed. Understand this. Every person you've attracted in your past who brought harm, confusion, or chaos was never a random presence. They were mirrors. Mirrors of what you once believed you deserved. Mirrors of what was never resolved. They reflected back to you the lies whispered over your spirit in childhood, that you were too much or not enough. But you are neither. You are exact. You are intentional. You are heaven's accurate weapon for this moment in history. Now, you attract differently. Now you align consciously. Now, you filter every face through your discernment. You recognize spiritual imposters. You sense counterfeit affection. You no longer confuse attention for love, manipulation for care, access for destiny. What you once tolerated, you now resist. What you once excused, you now expose. Because the healed version of you refuses to perform for connection. Michael whispers you don't owe access to people just because of history. You owe your peace to your purpose. You owe your loyalty to your calling. And those who cannot meet you where you are going must not be carried from where you've been. This is not cruelty. This is clarity. This is divine maturity. And as you embrace it, your vibration shifts. Your spiritual field elevates. You begin to draw toward you not what is familiar, but what is faithful. Now you attract alignment. Bees. Utter. Destiny mates. Voices that speak to your future, not just your fears. Relationships that heal, not repeat. Assignments that excite, not exhaust. This is the divine upgrade. And it didn't come from a quick fix. It came from years of endurance, inner war, prayer, and divine recalibration. You are the disruptor now. The one who breaks cycles. The one who no longer carries dysfunction in silence. You are the healed voice. The adult version your child self prayed for. Then you carry a flame that won't go out because it was lit in heaven, fueled by pain, and now burns with purpose. If this message has reached into your soul and you feel led to support, consider giving a super chat, super thanks, or even joining our memberships with contributions up to $10. Your generosity helps this sacred content continue to reach others. Also, if you'd like to support what we do, you can make a difference by donating through the support here link in the description of this video. Every contribution helps us keep creating and sharing more with you. Type "I am the healed disruptor" in the comments to claim this shift. Blessing code 2424 is lighting your path. Your childhood pain was not a mistake. It was not a curse. It was a prophetic blueprint, designed not by the enemy, but redeemed by heaven to forge your calling. Archangel Michael steps forward now and speaks not just as a warrior, but as a witness. He saw the moments that broke you. He recorded the times when your cries were ignored and your innocence distorted. But what the enemy failed to understand is that every loss, every wound, every mislabeling became the chiseling tool of the divine. And what the enemy meant to erase, heaven used to carve. This is the hour where your perspective must shift. You did not simply survive a hard childhood. You survived the holy initiation. You were exposed, yes. You were abandoned, yes. But in that pain, your discernment was born. In that rejection, your radar was formed. In that isolation, your consecration began. Heaven was not silent in those moments. It was watching, according, preparing. You were never alone. You were in training. The prophetic blueprint was hidden inside the ache. And now, that blueprint is being activated. You did not walk through betrayal just to write a sad story. You walked through it to carry breakthrough for others. You were not overlooked to feel inferior. You were hidden so that heaven could mature you in safety. And now, the Spirit of God declares, this is your unlocking. Unlocking doesn't happen when everything makes sense. It happens when you realize the things that didn't make sense were the very keys. The abandonment taught you self-reliance, but now heaven teaches you trust. The emotional starvation taught you to cling to people, but now heaven teaches you to cling to purpose. The lies taught you silence, but now heaven is teaching you voice. Every part of your history is becoming prophecy. Every scar is becoming a scripture written on the skin of your life. Archangel Michael reveals this now. Heaven has been whispering your name in secret. There have been divine meetings about you. Strategies drawn up with your face in mind. Angels assigned not just to protect you, but to position you. The exposure you experienced in childhood wasn't to shame you. It was to prepare you. The sensitivity that made you weep at night is the same sensitivity that makes you a channel for divine messages. What was once too painful to carry is now the vessel through which power will flow. And here's the truth. The story isn't over. The most powerful chapters have not yet been read. The most sacred moments have not yet unfolded. Your childhood did not disqualify you. It clarified your role. You are not the damaged one. You are the destined one. What was unfair is now becoming your favor. What was hidden is now being highlighted. And as heaven exposes what was once buried, you will notice this strange sensation rising within you. Not pain, but peace. Peace that makes no sense. Peace that overtakes explanation. Peace that says, I don't need to understand it all. I just need to walk in it. This peace is the confirmation that the unlocking has begun. This next chapter of your life does not start with applause or recognition. It starts with divine exposure, with a spiritual revealing of what's always been true, that you were called, chosen, and covered. The enemy knew it. That's why he came so hard. That's why he attacked so early. But now the attacks have become assignments, the pain has become prophecy, and the path hath been made clear. You are not who they said you were. You are who heaven always knew you were. And this revelation is not for pride, it is for purpose. Walk in it. Speak from it. Declare it. Let every step you take from here echo with this truth. I was not broken. I was being built. Type "I receive this unlocking" in the comments if your spirit agrees. Blessing code 5656 is now flowing through your next chapter. This is your moment. Not in theory. Not in some future that is always tomorrow. But now. The time to move has come. The time to step out of cycles and into calling. The time to silence the voice of delay, the weight of guilt, the pull of hesitation. Archangel Michael declares it with finality. No more delay. No more guilt. No more apology for becoming who God created you to be. Heaven is not waiting on your perfection. Heaven is waiting on your yes. Not a hesitant, trembling, second-guessing yes, but a bold, unapologetic, destiny-awakening yes. This is not about knowing all the steps. This is about trusting the one who orders them. You do not need the full map. You need faith. Faith enough to take the first step. Faith enough to let go of what is familiar. Faith enough to believe that if God brought you through your childhood alive, He will carry you through your purpose and power. Declare this now. I am not defined by who wounded me. That declaration breaks contracts in the spirit realm. That statement shakes foundations built on falsehood. That phrase severs soul ties with trauma. You are not the sum of what they did to you. You are the product of what heaven is doing through you. You are not a repeat of your past. You are the reversal, the pattern breaker, the curse canceller, the light bearer. Take the steps. Make the move. Write the vision. Speak the truth. Let your actions become prophecy in motion. The Spirit of God does not require your credentials. He requires your cooperation. You don't need to be ready. You need to be willing. You don't need the crowd. You need conviction. And you have it now. Michael affirms destiny answers action. Not passivity. Not performance. But raw, brave, trembling, real action. That idea in your heart. It's not random. It's heaven sent. That nutty to disconnect from certain people. That's not paranoia. That's divine redirection. That longing to break out of cycles and start something new. That's not foolishness. It's faith calling you forward. Don't ask for confirmation anymore. You've received it. Don't wait for support. Heaven already backs you. Don't stall for perfection. The Spirit moves in obedience. There is a grace flowing now. A supernatural momentum. A window is opened in the Spirit, and it will remain open forever. Heaven is extending a holy hand and saying, come out. Come out from confusion. Come out from unworthiness. Come out from doubt. Walk forward, even if your knees shake. Speak, even if your voice cracks. Move, even if your path isn't fully lit. Because every step you take in faith triggers angels into motion. Every action becomes an invitation for divine alignment. You've spent enough time analyzing, enough time rehearsing pain, enough time delaying joy. It's time to build, time to believe, time to walk. There is a world waiting on what you carry. There are lives tied to your movement. There is impact coded in your DNA. You are not here just to heal. You are here to activate healing in others. And that activation begins when you stop questioning your permission to exist in power. Michael stands beside you now, sword drawn, angels aligned, heaven attentive. He does not wait for applause. He waits for your agreement. Say yes. Move forward. Step in. Destiny will not wait forever, but it is here now, and it's yours. Type "I activate my destiny" in the comments if you're ready. Blessing code 7007 now ignites your path to purpose. There is something sacred happening that your eyes cannot yet see and your mind cannot fully understand. While you grieve, heaven is not idle. While you process the weight of memories, the ache of disappointments, the sting of misalignment, heaven is negotiating redemption. In the quiet, in the stillness, in the moments when it feels like nothing is changing, everything is shifting. Archangel Michael reveals this now. The greatest moves of God happen in silence. You've been asking questions that seem unanswered. You've been praying prayers that echo back with no reply. You've wept in the night wondering if healing is real, if justice will ever come, if peace will ever be permanent. And heaven responds, not with noise but with movement. Angelic movement. Strategic activity. There is a silent exchange happening in the spirit realm right now. Divine negotiations on your behalf. Redemptive transactions. Spiritual reversals. Timelines being rewritten. Heaven is not waiting for apologies from people who hurt you. Heaven is not dependent on human confessions to activate divine correction. What was taken from you, your dignity, your peace, your worth, is being restored without anyone's permission. This is not about what man can say. This is about what God has already decreed. Archangel Michael declares with fire, your childhood dignity is being restored, without apology. You don't need their validation. You don't need their clarity. You don't need them to say what they should have said decades ago. What you need is already in motion. There are scrolls in heaven that carry your name, your purpose, your authority, and those scrolls are being unsealed. What was bound is being released. What was stolen is being returned. Not physically first, but spiritually. Because every blessing you see in the natural was once settled in the spiritual. And in this sacred moment of exchange, you may feel restless. You may sense something rising without understanding why. That restlessness is not anxiety. It is spiritual awareness. Your spirit is picking up the motion. The shift. You release. You are not crazy. You are sensitive to the invisible. And that sensitivity is your advantage now. Michael reveals that angels are now reversing spiritual contracts made in ignorance. Agreements you didn't know you inherited. Pacts made by generations before you. Words spoken over you in childhood that you accepted not knowing they were curses in disguise. All of it, now being annulled. Now being reversed. Now being rewritten. Do not mistake the silence for inactivity. Do not confuse God's stillness for absence. The divine is speaking in movement. Whispering in winds. Shifting doors in places you haven't even arrived yet. The unseen is being arranged so that when you step forward, the right connections, provisions, and protections are already in place. You are in the middle of a sacred exchange. Your sorrow is trading for strength. Your confusion is trading for clarity. Your history is trading for destiny. And all of this is happening without spectacle. No stage. No crowd. Just you and heaven. Just you and the one who always saw. Let yourself grieve. Let the tears fall. But know this. The grief is not a sign of defeat. It is a sign of cleansing. It is the releasing of residue to make room for redemption. What was done in ignorance is being undone by divinity. And no enemy can reverse what God has ordained. You are being reset, realigned, reintroduced to yourself through the eyes of heaven. And you will walk into rooms with a presence that confuses the same people who once overlooked you. Because something happened in the silence. Something holy. Something irreversible. Something permanent. Type I receive the divine exchange in the comments. Blessing code 4545 is now unfolding over your life. Heaven is forgotten. Heaven has not ignored what you've endured. The injustice, the silencing, the manipulation, it has been recorded. It has been witnessed. And now, Archangel Michael steps into your present with the full weight of divine authority and proclaims, justice is not delayed. It is layered. Yes, there is a holy justice unfolding, not on your timeline, but on God's eternal one. And it is precise, is perfect, is irreversible. Every distortion done to your image, every lie told about your spirit, every twist of truth that made you question your value, heaven is now bringing it into alignment. Spiritual justice is not about punishment. It is about divine correction. Heaven is balancing what man distorted. The scales are shifting. The weight of injustice is being lifted. And where the enemy once thought he could build strongholds, God is now building platforms. Michael reveals that the same mouths that once mocked you will now marvel at you. Not because you seek revenge, but because your rise is undeniable. Your elevation will be the echo of divine reversal. And reversal is not simply a turnaround. It is a return with interest, a divine repayment with increase. God multiplies the years the locusts devoured. He doesn't just restore, he rewards. You need to hear this now. This season of your life is not random. This is the fulfillment of every silent season you endured. The divine courtroom has ruled in your favor. The verdict has been sealed. The angels have received their instruction. And what was once yours in potential is now yours in possession. The people who manipulated your kindness, who exploited your openness, who fed on your innocence, they will witness your rise. Not to shame them, but to show them that heaven has the final word. You are not rising to prove anything. You are rising because you are aligned with righteousness. You are not climbing out of bitterness. You are being elevated through divine grace. Michael wants you to understand, this reversal does not require your vengeance. It requires your agreement. You must walk forward. You must detach emotionally from the need for earthly apologies. Some apologies will never come. But spiritual justice does not wait for confession. It flows from covenant. You are in covenant with heaven, and that covenant ensures restoration. This justice is not reactive. It is restorative. You will begin to see doors open not because you fought your way in, but because heaven whispered your name. Favor will find you. Opportunities will chase you. Alignments will form around you. Because the reversal has begun. The very systems that once oppressed you will now become the channels through which you are elevated. The very voices that once gossiped will now be silenced by your glow. The very platforms you were kept from will now be offered freely. Because divine reversal is not about revenge. It's about realignment. And it starts now. In your spirit. In your posture. In your decisions. You are walking in authority. You are moving with heaven's backing. And nothing, no person, no pattern, no past, can stop what God has already begun. If this truth resonates deeply and you'd like to help us reach more souls, consider showing your support with a super thanks or a super sticker, starting at $5. Your contribution keeps this sacred flow moving forward. Also, if you'd like to support what we do, you can make a difference by donating through the support here link in the description of this video. Every contribution helps us keep creating and sharing more with you. Type "Justice is mine" in the comments if this message confirms your spirit. Blessing code 1919 is surrounding your steps. The truth about your childhood, the memories, the silence, the shadows, the pain, was never meant to bury you. It was never meant to shame you or define you in darkness. And oh, the truth was a seed. Buried, yes, but not to rot. Buried to grow. Buried to become something seared, something strong, something unstoppable. And now, heaven has watered that seed with light. Now, Archangel Michael speaks the final word over your soul. You are rising, not despite your childhood, but because of it. What was meant to be the end of you became the beginning of you. What was meant to fragment you only forged your wholeness. The truth you were afraid to touch has now become the treasure you are called to carry. You are no longer hiding from your history. You are harvesting the power within it. That is the miracle. That is the mercy. That is the mark of one chosen by heaven. You are protected now. Fully. Not by walls made of trauma, but by wings of light. Your emotional gates are no longer unguarded. The fortress around your spirit is divine, and the sentinels assigned to your soul do not sleep. You are shielded, not in fear, but in favor. You walk now with a light that cannot be dimmed, a presence that cannot be ignored, a clarity that cannot be taken from you. Heaven has repositioned you. You are no longer stuck in old roles. You are no longer echoing old lies. The position you hold in the spirit realm is elevated. You are seated in places of authority, discernment, and peace. And from this place, you no longer chase connection. You attract alignment. You no longer seek rescue. You embody redemption. You are rising now. Not solely, not timidly, but fully, boldly, with the blessing of heaven on your back and the sword of the Spirit in your hand. Michael stands beside you as a witness, as a guardian, as a voice of truth. He has declared over you what the world could not comprehend. You are sealed. You are seen. You are sent. Let every shadow that once clung to your memory dissolve now in this light. Let every false identity fall off like old skin. Let every lie lose its grip. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are not bound. You are the healed. You are the reborn. You are the anointed. Let your final breath of doubt be exhaled here, and inhale this new truth. Your childhood story is no longer a place of pain. It is now your place of power. You are walking away from the ashes with beauty. You are walking away from the ruins with restoration. You are walking into the next chapter of your life sealed in divine authority. This is your blessing. This is your covering. This is your confirmation. Type "I am sealed by heaven" in the comments to affirm this final release. Blessing code 8181 now surrounds your legacy.